So it looks like a political group in America by the name of the Tides Foundation gave this northern chief in Alberta, Alan Adam, a $55,000 alleged bribe. I can't really probably classify it as that, but if this guy was any type of other politician other than a chief, that's what it would be. But because he's Aboriginal and a chief, they don't really necessarily follow the same rules, and everybody's too afraid to call them out. But yeah, the Tides Foundation gave this guy $55,000 to stand on stage with Neil Young and just to sit there and give it legitimacy and oppose the oil sands. So, this is deliberate, direct intervention in Canadian politics from outside forces. Everybody is worried about Russia and shit, but really, we have groups already across the border, these politically progressive groups trying to change our politics, bankrolling activists in Canada. And I looked up this group, and sure enough, you see one of the largest donors that gave them like something like 3 million was George Soros. And the same group gave tons of money to Media Matters and to push all of these left-wing political agendas. And these groups are also considered like charities and nonprofits, so they often get tons of tax breaks as well. So it's bullshit. It's like your taxpayer money is going into having these people go and spew their political message, their agenda, all over the world in different countries. And like I said, we're worried about Russia. When Russia is a poor country, sure, they're going to try to manipulate shit just like anybody else, just like China, whatever other country, Israel, America does, whatever country. But this is deliberate, direct, and we could easily stop it. We need rules to like ban George Soros from our country, like his home country does. I'm pretty sure like Hungary. I think he's from Hungary or something. Like he's not even allowed back in his own country because he just meddles in politics and just pays off politicians, pays off activists, to do his bidding. So that should not be allowed. First of all, these chiefs getting huge bribes to go and oppose the oil sands. And this is why I don't believe a lot of them were like, oh, our fishing grounds and our this, and it's going to pollute and kill the whales and blah 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 blah. It's like, you don't believe any of that shit. You just want more money, or you've been paid off by somebody else to say that. That's like 99% of the time is why people are opposing it. And then there's a bunch of other idiot white liberals there just that legitimately are these environmentalists and do want to stop this at the expense of our government, at the expense of the economy. They don't give a shit. Like, environmentalists are almost as bad, like the crazy ones. I'm not saying everybody who cares about the environment is like that, but those crazy wacky ones, they're pretty much as bad as Muslim extremists. Like, they're willing to blow shit up, kill people, destroy a whole entire economies because of a fucking frog or a couple animals and shit. And it's like, I'm not even advocating killing all the animals, but they don't want any human like around living and like bending a fucking tree branch over and like stepping on grass and potentially standing on a fucking bug or something. Like, some of these people are insane, and they'll go and riot to try to prevent these pipelines and stuff from being built. But at that point, the police need to come in and just round these people up and like throw them in fucking jail or something. Like, I don't know, because if all these jobs and all these industry is dependent on it, and you just have these little groups rioting that don't actually represent the majority of what Canadians want, then it's like, man, you're holding up entire industries, all these jobs, wealth coming to our country, because you think it's a bad idea, or you want to save the whales, and you don't even realize that Canada, it's like, we're not the ones that are killing the whales, that are killing the sharks. Speak to fucking China and these countries that have this whole trade where they eat shark fins and just throw the rest of the shark in the ocean. Like, I've seen the whole documentary, if you've probably seen it too. You know, they pull sharks out of the water, they just cut off their fins and they throw them in the ocean. It's not Canada doing that. You know, go to China and tell them, hey, stop killing the whales. Go to the places that really matter. But oh no, these are brown countries or they're people of color, so we can't really say anything about them, right? Because then you would be a racist or something. So, you know, it's this needs to stop. We can't have outside forces blatantly paying off like politicians like this, and our chiefs and the Aboriginals got to stop getting a free pass for this shit. People need to call them out for taking this shit. And it's like, you know, they are fucking their own communities over, and they're pretending like they're going to help them. They're pretending like they're going to protect their land and for their people. But hey, you know, all these chiefs have been in charge of a lot of these places, these reserves, for a long time, and they are getting worse and worse. People are killing themselves. Like the suicide rate on these reserves is radically higher than a lot of other places in Canada. Like, and I don't blame them. If you've been to these places, they're decrepit and there's nothing around and they're cold. They're out in the middle of nowhere. Like, and the only people that have money and things are the chiefs, because they're willing to sell out their own people. You know, all these pipelines and all this shit that would be going through some Aboriginal land would be providing those people with jobs so they could sustain themselves, so they could buy shits. But no, like the chiefs, they're easily paid off by foreign money to sell out their own people. So, you know, actions speak louder than words. You know, we can't keep trusting these politicians, and this is why we need a smaller government, because having this much power, control, and stuff that a lot of these people have, and how easily it is to pay them off, it's just going to lead to globalization, and to us, to the native people of Canada, the Aboriginal and the native Canadians, right? Like, to lose out and to you know, not reap the benefits of what we could actually have. Like there's 3 pipelines that are shut down. You know, there's the regulations are dramatically impeding the fucking oil sands, and it's like, man, like we could be sustainable. We could be so well off. Like, we wouldn't be dependent on anybody. The NAFTA negotiations that are going on in America right now, we would actually have a leg to stand on, because, you know, America, they are trading, their biggest trading partner is Mexico. Our biggest trading partner is the USA. We need them more than they need us. But if we were actually able to get these pipelines built, then we could sell our oil to other markets. You know, we would not be as dependent. Saudi Arabia wouldn't be able to dick us around, right? And be like, oh, well, we're going to stop all this, but you're going to keep buying our oil because we still want your money. So, you know, and then we wouldn't look so weak and pathetic on the world stage. We'd actually, you know, have some respect. But because we're dependent like this, because of the decisions this administration has made, and the Harper administration too, we are in the situation we are in now. And the media needs to be talking about this. Like, why aren't they all over this shit? If Russians gave, like, I don't know, Andrew Scheer like $10 on a fucking super chat or something, or Maxim Bernier, they'd be like, oh my god, the Russians are influencing the election, blah blah blah. But George Soros gives a bunch of money to, like, you know, the Tides Foundation. The Tides Foundation goes and influences our politics. Not a peep. because anytime anybody says anything about George Soros, like, oh, anti-Semitism, this is anti-Semitism. Anytime you mention his name, you hate Jews or something. So it's just stupid bullshit. But this is just more proof that the people running you, the people that are supposed to care about you, don't give two shits. This is why the government needs to be small, and small communities need to have more power over how their resources and stuff are used, instead of giving so much power to people like this who blatantly don't give two shits, right? But that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.